Welcome to Table Talks. As you can see, we're not in church today. Because of this whole, only 6 people in the building thing, we can't take up the space.
Because there's more important stuff, the church. Not that this is not important. But anyways, we are not recording in church because of the pandemic. And whatever that's happening in Malaysia. If you're not listening from Malaysia. Okay, but anyways. Paul is always judging me for what I'm saying on the podcast.
I should.
But anyways, we just want you to know that our creative director,
our only videographer,
our media director, our lighting instructor,
our video editor,
our everything behind the scenes, the only person would like you to know that he is sorry because the quality is not as...
The audio quality today is not going to be as nice because we're sharing one
And the
mic.
aesthetic is also not pretty nice.
It's not bad, I think.
We are doing a sofa talk. Sofa talks?
So far talks.
There's no table. But anyways, we are still presenting it to you because...
Sofa talks. We're talking about what we've got so far.
So we're gonna start.
And there's no special guest for the week. There's no... but...
Because we started with no special guest.
It was just the two of us. So we're going to wrap it up with the two of us.
And
we're going to, instead of just talking about... So for you guys, in Life Root, we asked you what did you learn through the SHEMA series. We're going to talk a bit about what we learned while preparing the SHEMA series.
But before we go there, we're actually also merging it with strength. Because that's where we're at. We haven't covered the last word of the SHEMA series.
That is correct.
Which is ma'od.
Ma'od.
Right? Which is ma'od. And then so we are going to be talking about strength. Like muscle strength?
Muchness strength.
It's not muscle strength, guys. I was just kidding with you. If you didn't know that already, you should
go to Life Group 3 weeks ago.
Watch the Bible Project video, guys. This is not sponsored by... But we're going to be talking about muchness. So
did you have difficulty understanding muchness when we first when we got to the topic of muchness? Did you have trouble understanding it?
Because when you talk about strength, everybody's muscle strength, muscle, how heavy can you do it,
or
maybe loving God with how good you can love God. I don't know. It was just unclear to me, I think.
Or one specific talent or uniqueness. Something like that.
There must be this one thing that you can love God with, right? But then we discovered while we are reading the Bible, when we are learning about the context of the whole SHEMA series, we realized that's not really what it was. It was something to do with muchness. What you have right now that you can use to love God, love others, right?
And it could be intellectual power, or it could be physical ability. In the New Testament, in the Old Testament, it was just strength, but in the New Testament, Jesus used love God with all your mind and all your strength. So that gives us a bit of a clearer picture. But when we did the topic, what we discovered that sometimes people have common muchnesses that we can love God with. When we're in school, we all have quite a fair bit of time.
The ability to study. Most of us.
Most of us can speak language. We can communicate with other people. We can encourage.
A lot of us love music.
So sometimes, our muchness we might share muchness with other people. It might be similar. But there are other times where there are things unique to us that God has given to us. And those things are not to be seen as more important than the other things, because it's not a comparison.
Definitely.
It's just to recognize that love God with your muchness. Whether it's extremely unique form of muchness or common form of muchness. It doesn't matter.
But as long as we have it, we recognize there's a privilege that we just have things that we can use to serve God and bless the people around us. And I think sometimes we find that we want to downplay our muchness, no, it's not something that I can use to bless others or love God. And also sometimes we feel we don't dare to say out that we can actually do it because it might be weird for others.
Sometimes in Asian culture you don't go around telling people what you're really good at.
If you said oh, I think I can play the guitar well and I want to play the guitar to serve God. Then people are like, oh, show off.
Oh,
like,
arrogant,
what a show off.
bragging.
Or like, yeah. But it's not about that. It's about being like honest with what you can do for God. And no matter how weird it is, like, I think people who can fold origami is pretty cool. I mean, I have seen how like this person that we know can like fold very interesting
Shout out to Ian.
origami, and then like we all like all the girls, we always make like very nice letters and envelopes, and then he would like fold his letter in this really cool way. And that's his way of loving people too. I mean, stop looking at it like, we should stop looking at it like it just have to be like what everybody else is doing. Like, God has given us each individual unique abilities, or whether, like you said, it looks a lot like others or it doesn't look at all, we can use it to love God and love others.
Sometimes I think it's also because we're insecure. So like
Yeah.
when we see other people loving God with their muchness, we wonder, is that better or is what we're doing better?
Yeah.
And which is completely pointless at times.
Yeah, if we get lost in the comparing game, like,
Yeah.
oh, wait till I'm as good as this person.
Then you can't appreciate.
Yeah, wait till I'm as good as that person to speak, then only I will dare to go speak to someone else about God. But it's not about that, because that person have that person's muchness to use and you have your muchness to use. And yeah, I guess we just want...
And we gotta grow past that mindset. If
Yeah.
not, we can't appreciate when somebody else is loving God with their muchness. And we end
Yeah.
up putting them down at times.
Yeah.
And we can't appreciate when there are things that we can do that God has given to us, even if it looks similar to other people. And we just end up not doing it.
Yeah.
Just because someone else does it.
And just the greatest pity of it all is if we just do nothing
Mm.
with loving God with our strength, you know?
Yep.
Just letting it be. And that would be really a waste. Yeah. So that's how we feel about mode. I think that was really interesting. To just dive in and see what the word really meant. Yeah.
Yep.
How about like just taking back a step, looking at the whole series, since this is like our
Taking a
last
step back.
taking a step back to realize that
James
oh
Bond.
yeah, we actually finished the whole series. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been at it since August. I was quite surprised by
Really,
that.
August? I thought even earlier.
Maybe somewhere in July,
July?
but it was that Ablaze call
Maybe
that
we
kicked
should
it
check
off.
when we post the podcast.
Yeah.
And this is the first series that we have ever done a podcast, so we actually did
Yeah.
it. Woo. Yeah.
Joyce is really proud of this podcasting. Like,
A shout out to everybody who has been involved in the podcast and has been involved in preparing the SHEMA series. We are so grateful for you
thanks guys. Thanks.
We are grateful for the team that is behind working. Like, most of you wouldn't know, but a lot of people put in a lot of effort to like do the slides, do the discussion, do the podcast, edit the podcast, translate, do the series.
And you life and the life group leaders are
Yeah, shout out to all the life
they're
group leaders
learning
for
and
going at it
preparing and
every
doing
week.
it.
Yeah. Now we're talking on top of each other. Oh,
I've
no.
never done this shout out thing. I found it quite weird. But yeah, thanks guys. Great job.
Why can't you shout out? Means like we're telling...
I'm not one of them. I'm not shouting. That's first of all.
Poi.
Mention out.
He's not cool enough for shout
I
out.
don't follow. That's all.
Okay. I'm wondering if people can actually hear you.
I'm sure they can.
Okay, good. So, taking a step back, let me ask you a question, okay? Like, what do you think...
Oh, this first time somebody's asking me question. Cool. It's
What do you
usually me
mean?
asking.
I
Yeah.
asked you a question. If you guys look back at the first podcast, I did ask you a question. But anyways, let me ask you a question, okay? What was the most impactful thing for you for the whole series, and what stood out for you? What was something that you learned, even though you like prepared it together with the team? Yeah.
Well, I don't think that if I'm preparing, I can't learn, first and foremost. Because actually, like, going into it and, like, really trying to understand the words and the context that it's been said and, like, just following along with the narrative of the Bible up to that point in Deuteronomy where Moses gave this speech, I think I learned the most in studying the 3 words at the end, the heart, the soul, and the strength. Because I think coming from a like church background and trying to try to make sense of it and understand. I wanted to have pretty rigid like answers of what is this and what is this and what is this. Like what is the heart, what is the soul, and what is the strength. But when I studied it and then I had to give a bit of allowance to try and understand what did the Hebrew writers want to explain when they were writing the words, then I realized like obviously how they studied or their form of science is different from our form of science today. So like when the video says like, the Hebrew writers did understand the concept of a heart as like a beating organ in the body, but that's not what they meant. I had to just slow down and think like, okay, so what did they mean by heart? What did they mean by soul? And what did they mean by strength? What did God mean in the Bible by those things? And when I did study those things, I realized like the sort of desire to want to like, okay, now you do this, so you love God with your heart. Now you do this, so you love God with your soul. Now you do this, so you love God with your strength, is the wrong way to approach the Shema. Because I think that's, if I did go into it, that's what the Israelites did. And that led to a very sort of rigid mindset where they set very strict like standards of how they will love God with their heart, or how they will show that they love God with their heart, or show that they love God with their soul, or show that they love God with their strength. Because also in the book of Deuteronomy, I'm sidetracking from the Shema a little bit. Like Moses told them, if you obey these laws and these commandments, it will be like your wisdom to you. And if you love God, you will obey his commandments. So then I think the Israelites took it a bit too far, and they sort of flipped it around. It was not that if you love God, you will keep these commandments. They took it such that if you keep these commandments, if you do these commandments, you prove that you love God.
So they were just very busy like hitting the marks.
Yeah. And
like
they were boxing God into a lot of different categories in their lives.
Yeah, if I've done this, I've offered this sacrifice. Yeah. If I do this and I've done this, then means I've loved God.
Yeah, but the totality of their lives and the totality of their nation was not loving God, which was why, as we see from the Bible, like it proves that the direction that their nation went eventually was further and further away from God. Like there's a whole long story that we'll get into in the next series about how there's Babylon and how Israel became Babylon.
You're just giving it away.
Whoa, I'm giving tips.
You're just gonna mess with your mind.
No, that's okay.
Don't go there.
Yeah, okay, that's all I'll say. And so yeah, there's a thing to understand about that, and I found that very, very interesting. And I was personally corrected about how like the Shema is not the attitude that you have when you are serving God. The Shema is the attitude that you have throughout your entire life in relation to God.
It's not just a Sunday thing.
Or a Saturday night when you're preparing sharing thing, or when you are getting ready for your life group thing. It's when you wake up in the morning and you go through your day and you end your day and you ask what can you be thankful for, and you go into the next day if it's given to you, and you relate with other people, and all those things sum together, and you ask, in my relationship, in my life, in my relationship with God and my relationship with other people, how should I live as somebody that says the God of the universe is my God? You? What did you learn?
Yeah. I think just preparing it and just going through it, I was really blessed that it's just how amazing how the Bible was written. That just one like Shema prayer has so many meanings in all the words, and even just Shema, it's not just listen, but listen and obey are the same side, are a different side of one coin. And just understanding that loving God is really nothing to do with just saying I love you, just saying I love you, God. And so easy do we just constantly think that loving God is just so much as whatever we can say. But it goes so much more deeper than that. And it goes through your heart, your soul, like loving God with your entire being, and then your strength, loving God with your muchness. I think it's very easy growing up in church. Just like growing up in church when I was little, I would look at people and I'll see like those pastors and those ladies that are like
Leaders.
leaders, like just those people that people would love, and then I'll be like, I want to be like them one day. I want to be able to stand on the stage and like lead people, and then that means that, oh, I love God so much, you know. And I had that kind of thinking growing up when I was young, but little did I know, like, wow, God really changed the way I think. The more I really wanted to love God, but I was just not sure if that was the mark that I'm supposed to reach, you know. Like, if you are a leader and if you're on stage and if you're good at talking and people like you, okay, that means you have loved God to the maximum ability. But I remember one day, one pastor was like, if you love God, would you start with just sweeping the floor and washing the church toilets?
Oh,
right.
on.
Washing the church toilets for the whole year. And if nobody ever found out. And then it changed the way I think, that loving God is not just that ideal thing. Because when I reached that ideal, like being on a stage or whatever, then is it truly loving God, or was I just trying to prove myself? But the fact that even washing toilet is counted as loving God, I really started to say, yeah, maybe loving God is not like how we always thought it was supposed to be. And then what became even more crazier was when loving God is supposed to be an everyday thing. That's a game changer, because when you wake up in the morning, you become more and more aware that there's many things you're doing in a day that it's not really loving God.
Or it doesn't look like it's loving God.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's loving God anymore. And your speech, the choices you make, and the things you do, it really made me realize, yeah, if I want to say I love God, and if I want to raise my hand in worship and say that, God, I will offer my whole life and I will love you with all my heart, what does it mean? Then remember, like in the series, we say heart is where our intentions are, right? Then I really say, God, I think loving God is a whole big thing. It's not just like a one-off thing. It's not just like you said, it's not just like when I become a leader, that means I love God or something like that, you know? So I really admire people who not just show in the big screen or on the social media they love God, but you can really see in their life the day-to-day discipline to want to put God first in their life. That is what I admire a lot. And that is what I strive for. Through this whole series, I am trying to really, God, help me. Like we also said in the series, we can only love God by depending on God's love. I think from this series, I hope people will just realize that loving God is really not words, and it's an everyday thing. And yeah, I've just been really blessed, like, yeah, through this whole series. Yeah.
So I'm sidetracking a bit, but I think observing you,
Yeah.
I think from like studying early childhood education and doing intercultural studies, I think you realize that like loving God sometimes is not always like, yeah, it's new things and it's fun things to do. Sometimes it's just like studying your diploma and completing your diploma and learning well.
Yeah.
Because when you're in it, it might not look like, wow, how am I loving God by studying hard, or how am I loving God by learning so and so thing, or having a right attitude towards learning, or respecting my
when
teachers.
I really don't want to learn anymore, because it's really tough. Yeah.
But then once you go through that process and you look back, you realize, wow, I actually really learned a lot from that particular class that I didn't like. And once you are done, when you take the initiative to integrate those different things that you learned, and you challenge yourself and you ask like, so for you it's kids, like you've been wanting to like teach kids since you were like way younger. That's been a thing for you already. And but going through that diploma was tough for you. I remember there was like a lot of 4 a.m. nights and a lot of like, I don't know how to do this assignment, I don't know how to do this essay, definitely. I don't like this lecturer, I don't like that lecturer, they're giving me very low marks, you know, they're grading me very tough, and you went through it. But like once you were done and you look back and you realize like, I wanted to teach kids and I had to go through this difficult process to be better equipped to teach kids.
Yeah, and I want to do it because I love God. And I could use something that was so difficult to bless the children and like be able to draw them closer to God through like education. And I wouldn't have looked at studying as a way to love God, but like I said, if loving God becomes your everyday, the way you see things changes. Because it's no longer just studying for the sake of studying, you know?
It's studying for the sake of serving, almost.
Yeah. And looking at a bigger picture, because loving God allows you to have a bigger heart for things, to have a bigger picture like, how can I use this to bless others? And when the goal is to bless others, to see what I can give to people, it really becomes, it gives a different kind of motivation, you know, like what I'm talking about. Like if it's just for
you see a bigger goal.
Yeah, like if it's just for selfish gain, to like maybe when I become a kindergarten teacher, then I can earn more money, I don't think that goal would have sustained me through like all these years. Because that's really not the case when they are like jumping up and down and they just wouldn't keep quiet.
Joshua Lai.
If he's listening to this podcast, that's my student, by the way. But yeah, see, now all my other students are gonna be like, why didn't I say their names?
Of course, I know his name the most because I shout at him during basketball training.
Are special to me, okay? All my students. A shout out to all my students.
Yeah, you're special to her. When you come for my training, you'll be special to me, so.
We are so mean. This is like a promotion.
I'm plugging.
Poise
No, let's not say it. Don't plug. Okay.
But you see, now I lost track of yeah, what did I say? I was saying
it's not easy to love God when like if not Joshua Lai is a difficult student. Yeah, that's where we were.
When I look at the students and when
okay, to be fair, Joshua Lai is not a difficult student. Joshua Lai is a bit naughty sometimes, but he's working
Joshua
hard.
Lai the title of the podcast?
No, it's not.
Okay, so when it's difficult, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
The bigger picture is my motivation to want to bless people because I love God and I want to bless His people. And I think it's same for you, right? Like now you have to work in the clinic and all. People would tell you like, oh, work so that you can like, because this occupation is like super money earning and stuff. But why do you want to like treat people?
I think when you grow
or you can tell people what you do.
Older. I'm a chiropractor.
Yeah.
Yeah, the classic line is I watch YouTube, the crick crack bone that one person. Yeah, right.
People love to hear the crick
so there's
crack.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think when you grow older, you have to adjust a little bit and you have to gain a slightly more, well, the word is robust or like comprehensive understanding of what it means to live as a Christian in the world and how you serve people and how do you love God. Because obviously if I go and work in the clinic with the intention of every single patient that comes in, I want to preach the gospel to them, I'm probably going to have very few patients because I'm going to spend like a lot of time with all the patients.
Doesn't mean it's bad.
No, doesn't mean I can't share the gospel with my patients.
Yeah, you still will share the gospel.
Yeah, but primarily in terms of my business, I'm supposed to adjust them and help them get physically better so they can live life.
Yeah.
Right? And if I think about it in a sort of manner, God created people. He gave people life so that they can enjoy the life that He's given to them.
Definitely. Yeah.
As difficult as it may be, as challenging as circumstances might be in their life, or as good as it might be, that's the gift of life that God gave to them. And so I see my position as somebody that is a chiropractor. I have the privilege of helping people get back to being able to experience life in a manner where they can function properly so that they don't have to like bend over, back pain, ankle pain, like Joel, Sean, Brian, who have been calling to me. And I think like there are different ways that you can serve other people. And in terms of my business, adjusting people and treating them well is a way that I can serve them.
I think it's so mind-blowing to just consider that loving God is no longer just a checklisting and a box that we have to put ourselves into.
And that actually makes it even more difficult because you have to intentionally live every day of your life.
Yeah.
with the goal of loving God and loving others.
Yeah, you said like how you say it's difficult. It truly is, because now you have to consider everything. Everything that you're doing, you need to consider if you're loving God through those things and your daily life. And it's not so much about just saying something anymore. And of course, it's always easier to take the easier road. But if you truly consider what God has done for you, and if we love because He first loved us, then we can't just know how much He loved us and decide the way we want to love God back is just to take the easy way out. But I hope that this series made you think, to really consider, what do I mean when I say I love God? And what do we mean when we SHEMA, you know? Yeah.
And I hope it also makes people... I also hope that it doesn't paralyze people in thinking only, you know? To the point where you think and think and think and consider and ask, like, is this the right time? Is this the right moment?
Oh, no,
Is there an ideal situation where how do I know everything I need to know before I love God? Or how do I think about everything that I need to think of before I love people? And I don't think that's the intention either, because I think there's definitely an aspect of humility and understanding that sometimes, as much as we should think, we should definitely use our mental capacities to consider and weigh in, like, what are my intentions, what's my goal, how am I doing this, what's my attitude. But sometimes we have to learn along the way, and sometimes we make some mistakes here and there, and that's fine.
And if we are just held back by fear, then we will never start loving, you know. And if we consider but it's
that's me sometimes, you know, like just thinking and thinking and planning but not doing.
We think a lot. We just like but the great thing is that we are loving a gracious, a merciful Father.
Yeah.
A Father that says that His mercies are new every morning.
Yeah.
And that's truly the promise and the assurance in this journey of loving God, is that we're not loving somebody who would just turn his back the minute we messed up. His grace is enough for us, and you just burped.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, guys.
Excuse me.
So I think that
think it through, consider it.
Yeah, and do it.
And do it.
And do it, yeah. Don't wait. Do it. Love God right now at this moment with your life. Don't waste another second. Yeah.
Find a skill, work on it.
Yes.
Don't forget the daily things.
Look at your intentions.
Remember to serve others.
Know that your strength comes from God.
Yeah.
And we're just repeating all the...
We're just throwing out bullet points of different...
of our sharing. And if you want to look
every
at
day
it,
is a new opportunity.
and every moment is a...
new chance. Joyce always forgets that line.
Sorry, guys. I'm not a really good
think,
person.
Consider, think, do.
Yeah.
And do over and over and repeat.
You are ending up talking to the screen suddenly.
I am. I'm looking at them.
Yeah, but if you're not watching at the video, then you are missing out almost
you will feel my energy
nothing.
When I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
Do it.
So thank you guys for sticking with us through all the episodes. What number are we at?
6.
Yeah, the director says 6. So we are glad you stuck with us for 6 episodes.
We're glad that we stuck through
this series. We might come back with a new series, with a new podcast.
We might revisit this series.
Maybe if 100 people.
Wow. If we get 100 subscribers, no.
If we get 100 listeners, then we might continue. Okay. But thank
Joyce
you guys.
will go and spam listen on her own.
Thank you guys for listening, and we hope that it has blessed you as much as it has truly blessed us preparing for it. Bye, guys.
We also want to especially thank the team that was preparing with us. The team, throughout this SHEMA.
Okay.
And that team comprises of some of your life group leaders.
We want to thank the people who have made it possible through every Thursday. We would discuss Ian, Brian, Abigail, Joel, Sean. Right.
Yep.
Yeah. And we want to thank all our life group leaders, or every single one of them, for going through the training. Yes, your life group leaders go through the training every time before they present it to you. And we want to thank Tyler for just doing this whole thing and building his Lego to make the awesome logo. Just everything you see. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Till the next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Welcome to
Pull it together.
Welcome to Table Talks. Is it? No hi Ablaze. No hi everyone.
Is it hi everyone that
There's
time?
hi
Yeah,
everyone.
there's no hi Blaze.
There
There's
is. There's hi everyone.
We don't say a Blaze. We say to everyone because
Hi,
many
everyone.
people listen to our podcast.
A whopping 30 people.
Okay.
1, 2. Hi everyone. Welcome to.
Table. Hello, what's going on? I didn't know you were gonna do the two.
1, 2. Hi everyone. Welcome to.
Welcome to Table Talks. Are you gonna say it?
We're going to hi everyone again.
Okay.